You're watching another edition of the O Show podcast. It's episode 495. We're presented by Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness is a high-intense workout program developed by the man on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen, Floyd Money Mayweather himself. Head on down to Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're also presented by betonline.ag. Sign up for that 50% bonus by using the promo code capital BLEAV50 for that 50% bonus during the NBA season, the 75th anniversary of the NBA season. We got an NBA fan in the house today, Miami Heat fan, Miami's very own. He's a pro wrestling fan, but most importantly, he is a stand-up comedian, and he's here at the House of Comedy, Rick Bronson's House of Comedy, this weekend, Thursday through Sunday, tonight at 7:30. Mr. J.C. Currais.
Hey, thanks for having me, dude.
This is going to be a blast.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Comedians here.
Oh, dude, I like coming and doing any sorts of. When you say, I love that you're sponsored by a betting site. I am a massive gambling addict. I love it.
Are you good at it?
I am. I so far. So on the NFL season, I was up $7,000 on the season, not bad. And then on the NBA season this year, I am up around $5,000. So not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not
I'd take
bad.
that any day of the week.
Yeah, not bad.
I know
Good turns.
These guys would take that any day of the week, right?
Maybe.
Right,
Who
Zach?
knows?
Come on.
He's making it up.
Yeah?
He barely beat me in NFL on our show.
Yeah.
And I'm destroying him in NBA so far.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, he's the NBA guy.
I got a parlay cooking tonight. Let's see. I got, obviously, Heat over Nets. I've got, what are the upsets I picked? I got Warriors with Draymond out, taking down, who is it? Who are they playing? I can't remember. Oh, Draymond's out. I know that. You got it? He's pulling it up.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm not the NBA guy.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Stalling time. So you got a show tonight.
I do have a show
Here
tonight. Yeah, here in Phoenix. It's my third time coming through the House of Comedy. I love that venue so much. It's a blast. Giant room, but it's like, it has a nice, intimate vibe on top of being enormous. Like, you can sit in the back and it doesn't feel like you're in a giant, like you don't feel so separated from the comedian. They do a good job of lighting and raising the stage in a way where the whole room, it's a good seat.
I mean, from what I've seen, the crowd is always awesome, too.
And they're ready to go. They're ready. They're revved up. People come out to party.
They start buying drinks about an hour beforehand. You get the openers, and then you get JC.
That's it. And here's the thing. I'm also having drinks an hour beforehand, too. So by the time I'm on stage, I'm really ready to go.
We were telling you that we were doing open mic recently, dating back to December, and literally the other night before I went up, I probably had like 3 or 4 shots, and by the time I got up there, I was ready to go.
I mean, it loosens you up. I think the key is not letting it be like a crutch, like where you're like, oh, I can only do it when I'm drunk.
That's how you become an alcoholic, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, not to say that I'm not an alcoholic already. I think by the definition of it, like when you look in the medical books, these doctors with their books. No, like, with comedy, you're at a bar. Most of the time, it's like, I'm going to have a couple of drinks. Why not? My opener, on the other hand, he'll be like, we got to get to the club an hour and a half before, because I got to have at least a couple of whiskeys before I get on stage. And I'm like, Bud, James Fry, what are you doing? What are you doing, James? You can do it without the drinks. It's Sunday. We're flying home tomorrow.
It's getaway day. What the hell are you doing? But it's honestly the one true profession where it's acceptable.
Extremely.
It's almost encouraged.
It is. I mean, a lot of shows, that's how you're fucking paid, man. Like, literally, like, they'll be like, well, there's no money or anything, but we'll get you a meal and some drink tickets. And you're like, well, I can't just flush my pay away. This is part of the deal. I got to make my money. I've got to earn it.
When was it the first time you got paid doing stand-up?
I went to the University of Florida, and I did a competition. It was probably like my second time or third time on stage, and I won third place and got money. So it was technically a Best Buy gift card, was my first money. So, but I was still very excited about it. For a long time, I was like, I'm going to frame this. But then I think I bought a video game.
What game?
I don't remember.
2K? We were talking about how you're a big pro wrestling fan.
I'm a giant pro wrestling fan. I am swearing off the WWE, though. I'm full AEW
you have
now.
Fully jumped on
I'm all AEW. Yeah, I have deleted.
Delete.
I've deleted WWE. I just quit. I got rid of the app, quit paying for the service. I was like, Vince is driving this company into the ground. He's firing guys who don't deserve to be fired. I just was like, I wanted to watch something that felt like it was more about the talent and the wrestlers and less about his stock, you know? So
there were a few of them I didn't quite understand, but I wasn't that heartbroken over. Like when they got rid of Strowman, I was like, it doesn't really make sense. Like you put in so much investment into him. It didn't make sense. The Fiend made no sense to me.
Fiend, I mean, here's the thing.
That one broke my heart.
When with Wyatt, I mean, you could say a lot of things about him, but I think the main thing that I would like to get across, he's the most creative, like
human being,
character
ever.
Creator in at least the last decade. I mean, the guy reinvents himself, and every time he does, it's fucking pitch perfect. Like, it's crazy. The first Wyatt variation, the Fireflies, insane. And then when he becomes this kids show host, before the Fiend even shows up,
the Firefly Funhouse.
I watched it a couple of times and I was like, this might be dumb. And then I was like, he sold me on it. It's like Pee-wee's Funhouse, but with this like darker scope.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing, we'll see what happens with him. I don't think he's going to end up in AEW because they try not to do anything that's like supernatural. I think the closest you get is Malachi Black, and he doesn't really do supernatural stuff as much as like he makes the lights go out. That's it.
Right. Well, you got Dark Order. You got because he'd be perfect for that.
Oh, I think so. It just depends on what he does with his character. Like he would have to like become less of like a magic user, you know, like character wise. Because that's the thing. Like my buddy Dan Jollis has a really funny joke about wrestling when people are like, you know, it's not real. Yeah, I know the guy is not really an Undertaker. Like I know that's not his profession. You mean the Wizard? I don't think he's real.
Nope.
I'm a fucking adult.
Nope. All these guys. I mean, that's why I like the characters that are more just like human beings. Like
grounded.
John Cena is John Cena.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, have you been watching Peacemaker?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. What a great show.
Who knew, too?
He kills it. He kills it.
My first glimpse at Peacemaker, I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah. You're like, this is going to be
pull
dumb.
this off.
Yeah.
John Cena, one of the greatest talkers, not only in just WWE, but of all time. Just
Big time.
Watch him in interviews. The guy has his shit together.
He does.
But the first time I saw that Peacemaker costume, I'm like, I don't know, man.
You know,
after Fast and the Furious 2, I'm like, this might put him on the ground.
Because when he did that role he did where he's like Dom's brother or whatever, I'm not a big Fast guy, but it was not very good.
No.
And but I honestly now watching it like Peacemaker, I'm like, it clearly wasn't his fault, right? It was the script or that franchise being enormous and there's no place for him in it. But like, man, I love that he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go R-rated too. Like all the way. He's been such like I'm the good, eat your vegetables guy. And now it's like, fuck it. I'm going to have fun and actually be an adult and market myself to a lot of the people who are his fans. And I think this, going back to the WWE stuff, they're marketing towards kids when AEW goes, no, we're going to market to the adults who like this still. And it's interesting. I think that WWE fell into that where they were too stuck. In the same way Cena, like why people started to hate Cena in WWE. Same character, never went heel, but now you realize, oh, it's because he didn't get the opportunity. He wanted to do it, but he couldn't because he was too locked into this like, America, and I'm good, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Vince was probably so afraid that he was going to lose so much money. He just wasn't going to panic. Because like, you'd like to see it, but at the same time, the investment, is it worth it? Like,
I know.
You don't know. You have no idea what's
he let Hogan do it, but I think it was because he let Hogan do it because he had other guys who were filling that realm. So he kept looking for dudes to be the Cena, and he couldn't find anybody.
They were able to do it with Reigns because everybody hated him to begin with.
But he still wasn't the like, eat your vegetables, kids. I'm
exactly.
a good right. So they had to go. Fuck it. Let Roman be bad guy. Let him because everyone's booing him, and this is the best he's been doing. I feel bad for him because he was the only thing I was excited to watch when I was like watching WWE. So I was like, Roman's having a good run. But even that's going to get taught. It just gets tiresome. If they stay on the same, format for too fucking long, you lose it,
Which is what they're doing. I mean, I think this time, I know you're not watching it, but Lesnar Reigns, it's like WWE champion versus Universal champion, title unification in the main event of WrestleMania this year.
I mean, it's going to be a cool match.
It's Lesnar Reigns in the main event for like the third time ever. Which is the most ever.
Yeah, we keep seeing it. So it's like,
but it's a different rendition of it. Lesnar is like a cowboy this go around, and it's hilarious. He's
trying to take Adam Page's gimmick.
We're finally seeing a Brock Lesnar with a personality, which we've never seen. Apparently, he's the funniest guy ever.
Well, and that's the thing. I think they were scared of letting him talk because he can't censor himself. So maybe he's gotten better at that. I don't know. But I know that's the reason they put the mouthpiece on him. Heyman was like, loved Lesnar, and then they were like, oh, we'll put them together because Lesnar can't get through a promo without going, fuck! Yep. So, can't do that on WWE.
I mean,
one thing real fast. Now that I realize who they're playing, I gotta ask you why you're doing this parlay. They're in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Luka.
I know, against Luka.
The past 10 games.
Because I like they're plus. I got them at plus 170, and I like that.
Wow.
I like that.
Without Draymond, I mean the Mavs are
I also have Lakers beating. That's my other upset. Lakers over Clips in LA.
All right,
so
let me know if you hit. I'm just gonna copy all your bets. You're oracle.
Dude, I mean, here's the thing. And then what else? I got Atlanta taking down the Bulls, Miami beating the Nets. I literally just made a full parlay, which was every game that's tonight.
Did you pick Grizzlies or Celtics?
I got C's.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, if he hits tonight, I am just copying him. He is a wild man. There are no
wild man. Well, also
outside of Miami, that's the only city.
That's the one. But I put the parlays together because I'll just do like every game, and then only put like $10 on it. Okay. So it's like 10 to win for 415, but it's an 8-game parlay, and then I put like 77 on the Heat, so 77 to win 50 on the Heat, right? All right. So that's my betting schemes. That's how I put it together. I get like 100 together, put it on everything, spread it out, and then go, all right. And then my buddy gave me a tip on the Portland Timber plus 475 against the LA Football Club. Oh. I don't know shit about soccer. I don't know shit about soccer. But I took it, I went, all right, let's go.
I don't even know the rules. You know the rules?
No idea. Put the ball in the net, I guess. Is it called the net even? The goal. The goal. But that's what you call the point too, right? It's a goal in the goal. I don't like it. I also don't like the only feet stuff. Work the hands in. Maybe if it's just everything, then is it just rugby?
At that point it's just rugby.
Yeah, because it's I don't know. I'm just not a soccer guy, but when he was like, this is a no-brainer. I can't believe the Timber are underdog this big, and I was like, why don't they see it? And he was like, dude, they beat the fucking LA Football Club like 4 in a row. Like he was talking, he had all these stats, and I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is. So if that one hits, that's the big win today.
Oh my God.
It was like 25 on 4 plus 475. I'm like, let's go.
Jesus.
Let's go.
Jesus.
It's like a little bit louder. You're still picking up the you're not quite.
How about now?
You know what it is? I think it's because I'm so fucking loud. I'm the loudest guy on the planet.
No, he's actually fine. It's just like he talks and it's here, and then you talk and it's like.
Wow.
Can they hear you?
Barely.
I hope so. I hope so. It's like, who the hell's JC talking to at the 14-minute mark?
Looking past the camera?
I don't know. Let me get my vote. You a Foo Fighter fan?
Yeah. I do like Foo Fighters.
I got another confession to make. Okay.
Is that your warm-up technique?
Yeah.
I like that.
Now we're good.
I'm your fool. Yeah.
Best concert you ever been to?
I saw the Strokes. They were really good. Yeah, I saw them live, and then I saw the Roots and.
You saw the Roots, really?
Yeah, I saw the Roots, and God, who the fuck was there with them? It was a 420 concert at the University of Florida, and it was the Roots. And you can tell I was nice and high because I cannot remember. Somebody else performed, but mostly the Roots for me.
Okay, best sporting event you ever went to?
I went to a lot of Rams games this year.
How's SoFi?
SoFi's sick. I didn't get to attend any of the playoff games because of just like work stuff and having to travel. Recent memory, I went to a Hawks game, Hawks Heat, during the pandemic and got to sit damn near courtside because it was empty and you had to be vaccinated.
Oh.
And Georgia is very like not into the vaccine, especially at that point. So I think they had trouble selling the tickets. So me and my uncle and my brother, we got great seats where it was just like not expensive and it was basically an empty arena. It was surreal, but it felt like you were watching a practice, but they were going at each other. It was sick. It was a really cool, I mean, like so close that when, Trey's shooting and I'd be like, boo! And I'd be like, it worked!
Yeah.
It worked! It's never worked!
I'm a factor in this game.
Right,
now.
yeah. I also got to see both University of Florida basketball championships live. I saw both football championships live. I've been to some pretty cool sporting events.
When did you graduate from Florida?
I graduated from the University of Florida 2010.
So how close was that during...
It was all around that same area, but I lived in Gainesville.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so
I just stayed living in
in
Gainesville, yeah. So basically I was like, oh, you know what? When I graduated, I was like, I'm just going to stay. I think I was in Gainesville until 2012 is when I moved to LA. Yeah, so I just stayed. So I was there for a while. I lived in Gainesville for almost 8 years, something like that. Yeah. So
how far behind that was probably around the time when Tebow left.
Yeah. All right around that area. Mm-hmm. I was like all in that zone where like the leak one had just happened. Tebow was like taking over the reins. It was when he was like, Tebow's the guy is when I was kind of coming in. Yeah. And then that basketball team, just the shit, just so good. And priceless shit. Indianapolis is where we saw that one. And then one in Georgia, which was great. Easy.
You ever hang out with Aaron Hernandez?
No, I never hung out with Aaron Hernandez. I hung out with Corey Brewer, though.
Really?
Yeah, we played beer pong against each other. And
That's
Deshaun
really cool.
Wynn. Yeah.
That's actually
the running
really
back.
Cool.
Yeah. Surprisingly, Deshaun Wynn better than Corey Brewer at beer pong. Weird. I think Deshaun just had he had the stroke, man. It's a different thing, right?
It's a different side.
It's for sure. It's different wrist
a little
release.
less backspin.
Exactly. It's different wrist release. I think more than anything else when you're playing beer pong as opposed to actually taking a shot. And I think, how many times you're taking a one-handed basketball shot? Right.
Do you think the Gator, like your time at college, resulted in your Gator nickname for Just Roll With It?
Man, well, what's so funny is that when I went in to read for that, the character's name was already Gator.
Oh, really?
So I was like, is this fate? Is this fate? And then I was getting really far along in the process, and I got to meet the creators and some of the other actors, and I did this like chemistry read, and I was like, oh man, I might actually book this. And as I'm walking out, it's just every heavy set or fat comedian and actor on the planet just sitting in one room, and I went, oh, I have no shot at this. Like, it's impossible.
You're typecasted.
Well, yeah, it was just funny because I was like, oh, it's a chemistry read, and I got there early, and there wasn't anybody there, and I'm like, oh man, it's chemistry read. It's just me, baby. It's mine to go get. And I went in and had a great time. And I'm happy that I didn't see the waiting room.
No.
Because if I would have probably been like, oh, fuck. Look how many other great guys there are. I mean, dudes who I think are hilarious. Like Greg Wilson was there, and James Adomian was there. Like, just like a ton of guys where I'm like, they're further along than I am. They have so much more acting experience. They're like hilarious comedians. And I mean, people who worked for Disney were there. I can't think of the names of the character actors, but like guys where you're like, you were in The Sweet Life, you were in this. So I was like, fuck. But it was after I'd already auditioned, so it was actually kind of nice. So I didn't have any of that, like, I didn't know my competition when I went into the game.
Did you like the cast and everything? Is it cool to be a part of a Disney show?
Majorly. I mean, like, the cast, I'm still friends with all of them, which is cool. And everyone who worked on the show, I just like, it was like going to acting college and getting paid to do it. It was amazing because that's what happened. Essentially, like, I just did stand-up. I got New Faces of Comedy. And then right after New Faces, I started doing generals for acting stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not an actor. I don't have any training or whatever the fuck. And I just went into the office at Fox, and the lady who's in charge of casting, like the main fucking person, and she literally goes, "Hey, they're casting something over on Lethal Weapon that might work for you." Drove me over there in a fucking golf cart. Met the guy. He's like, "This part's yours." I didn't even read for it. They're just like, "You got it." I'm like, "All right, cool. Is this how acting works?" And then I didn't book anything. Yeah, all right, perfect. And then I did like 5 episodes on Lethal, which was sick. Damon Wayans and Sean William Scott, you know, like just hanging out with fucking Stifler. Like, it was sick, man.
That guy seems awesome.
He is so fucking nice. Damon's super nice too, just not as like personable.
No.
Like Damon's like, he's there to work, and like he'll be like very nice when he's around you, but then he's like, I'm gonna go be in my trailer. Sean, on the other hand, is like, let's run the scene again, and like, hey, do you want to like run lines? And, like, he's just very like fun and ready to go, and you can tell that even if it's not a serious thing, like Lethal Weapon, right? What the fuck? He was so into it and gave a shit and gave a shit about everyone's time, and it was really cool. But then I was like, oh, I'm an actor now, so I'm auditioning and I'm not getting anything. I'm like, it was a one-off. Fuck it. And then I went in for this, and then I got the Disney thing, and then it's been great since then. I've been booking more and all that.
Did they ever let you do like the Disney like sign-in thing, like I'm J.C. Currais and blah, blah, blah,
They just did it for the kids. They generally, I guess, are doing that for just kid actors.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Kaylin and Ramon got to do it, and they killed it. They're awesome. It was so funny. Like, I get to set. I'm a child.
Yeah.
And like everyone there had a lot more experience than I had, so I was like getting up to speed, especially like doing like 3 like multicam shit. It's so different because like when you do the single cam, you could fuck up, and everyone's just like, all right, next thing. We ran that shit like a fucking play. So like when we did it on like taping nights where the audience was there, we tried to run it straight through. So it was like pressure on. Like it felt like it was way more. Oh fuck! I got like it felt like stand up in that respect, right?
Like it's almost like the same thing, like almost like improv.
Right. It felt and we did improv on the show, so it's like, you know, we had that when we were doing tapings for the Friday audience stuff. But what's interesting is that it was so much more scary than stand up. For me, stand up is I've been doing it for so fucking long that it's not that I don't get nervous anymore. It's just that like I know that when I make a mistake up there, I'm in control. I can just you change the script. It's alive. But like we shot stuff the day before, so it has to fit into this little. So like memorizing exact shit.
Yeah.
That was what the scary part was.
Ooh. Do you think you could pull off any certain role in any other show or movie out there today?
That's going right now. I mean, I can tell you shit that I went out for that I didn't get. That I think I would be killing it. There's like an ME that's on Reacher. It's the guy from What We Do in the Shadows. I went out for that. Thought I could have done good. In that part, there's like what else did I fucking read for recently that I didn't book? Shit. There's that Kristen Bell show. It's on Netflix right now.
You mean the window one?
The window one?
The insanely long name that I
it's like the woman who, because I think they're trying to make fun of like all those books that were like Gone Girl. The lady who wrote Gone Girl was like The Train and The Woman, and they all have titles like that. So I think that's what they were mocking. The dude who was in Mindhunter, the big guy in that, who's the serial killer who kills it, he plays like a handyman with a dark secret. On that I read for. Now, that one I know I couldn't do as well as him. Right. That guy's like a good actor, and I watch him and go like, oh no, he's doing good. Not to say that the dude from What We Do in the Shadows doesn't kill it, but I think that I could have brought something different to that because it's like a goofy character. I would love to get a crack on like that character he plays on What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. Because that's my favorite show right now. I love that fucking show. Man. I'd love to get on Always Sunny is like a dream to
Always
get on.
Sunny, you'd fit perfectly. Like
I
all
would
those
love-
sitcoms, like How I Met Your Father just came out. You know,
I could fuck with that. I know
How
I
I
could
Met
fuck
Your
with that.
Mother, one of the greatest shows of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How I Met Your Father's got a long way to go, but the comedic factor.
You know, I honestly, what I think is that if I had a choice in the matter, I'd probably want to do a single cam thing like Lethal, as
Yeah.
opposed to something like just roll with it and multicam, because just the pressure level is like, it just feels like everything's a lot more locked down.
You almost feel like you're letting a lot of people down if you don't get
Oh
your lines
man,
right on the first time.
and sometimes I want to just like kind of freestyle your way through it, because then it just feels more organic, I think,
Yeah.
too. So, yeah, I think my number one, and it's also scary because I think it's gonna go off air soon. Like I just don't know how many more seasons of It's Always Sunny's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, I really want to try and get on that show. I'm waiting to hear about a pilot that I auditioned for. That's it's a big one. I probably can't talk about it, but it'd be really fucking cool if I booked it. World, please. This is what I need.
Have you auditioned for any like voiceover work for like cartoons?
Man, so fucking much that I've booked absolutely
I
zero.
feel like you guys would be like great.
I do so many fucking voices. Like I just, and fuck it, because I won't book it. I just read for Devil May Cry. They're
Really?
doing the Netflix series, and I read for that. And there's like a bad guy character that I read for.
Exactly who you're talking about. I thought
The
you-
rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. for
Fanboy.
rabbit.
Oh, dude.
Fanboy.
I read, and I did like a deep, scary voice for it.
That casting director.
White
is
rabbit.
Exactly
Yeah.
what I could pick up.
Yeah, I read for it, and I fucking brought it. Like my roommates were literally like, "Dude, we thought you were fucking breaking your room apart," because I was like, like fucking like all the way going after it. I have my home like studio set up. I love voiceover shit. Like I love like Futurama and fucking obviously Rick and Morty and
Yeah.
just fucking. There's so many shows that I like love, and I'm like, I want so bad to break into that world, but apparently it's just a hard break in. It is.
Dude, that voice, as someone who's playing the games, that's actually exactly what I would want that
Yes!
to sound like.
Oh,
Casting
man.
Director, I will say on air, casting director, you made a mistake. JC should have had that role.
It's not. It's
None of his casting director.
hey, casting director for Netflix. Sorry, I leaked the show. Because they also called it like that was the best part. I get the audition and it's like called like Untitled Demon Hunter Show, and it's like based on a video game with 5 games in the series. I'm like, motherfucker, just say Devil May Cry. I know. And then also they were like, your own interpretation. So I was like, I'm glad I hadn't played. I'd never seen the character. I just read like he's got like an aristocracy about him, and like, you know, he looks down on people, sort of shit. The lines were fucking killer. I was super jammed on it. Big giant monologue. But that's what's cool about voiceover, because I'll have zero turnaround on that. They'll go like, it's like I'll get an audition at like 6 p.m. They're like, it's due tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
and it'll be like 8 pages, but I'm fine. You can read it. So you just sit there and read it like 10, 20 times and then just fucking read it live. Also, you get as many takes as you want because you're editing it yourself. But like with like those fucking giant scripts where you got to memorize it, be ready to go, it could be a motherfucker. Like when it's like
Do you do
action
any
wolf.
impressions?
I think I do a pretty good Kermit the Frog.
Let's hear it.
Let me find it. You got to go down. It's like you get in the Raymond area, and then it's like, "Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. It's okay. It's not great. It's fine, right?
Like Jamaican.
It's
Kermit.
bad, right? But the thing is, in my stand-up, because Hank Azaria said this for all his voices, he goes, all of my characters that I do on The Simpsons are bad impressions. They're ones I don't do well enough, but they make a fun voice. So it's like he's trying to do an impression, but it's not good enough to be an impression of the thing. So then he just goes, but it could work for this character in this voice. So I think that like, it's just training your voice to do random shit. I have a buddy, Ralph Guerra, who is just, he can hear somebody and mimic them right away.
Yeah.
And it's fucking insane. And I'm like, I can't do that. But I can hear them and go like, and do a version of what they sound like to me, and it'll be a funny sounding voice. And then I get to use those in my stand-up.
Oh, that's Perfect.
So then, like,
That works so
funny
well.
sounding voices are easy to get to for me. Also, like, my pitch, I can go higher. Like, I can hit high a little bit and here, and then I can also get very deep and very low baritone. So, like, I don't know. And I also have the ability to scream. A lot of people don't have that, like, tear your vocal cords up shit.
No.
Like, I'm
Everybody
loud.
thinks you do, but as soon as you start screaming, you're like, I forget that.
It
I don't have
hurts.
it. I don't
And
have
like every time people come up and go like, how do you do a week of shows like that? I'm like, I'll do 4 weeks in a row, yelling like I yell on stage. And maybe down the road it'll be bad for me. But like I've started to care for it a little more because I was like worried, like, oh, maybe it'll be something that like I lose, and then what will happen? I'll have nothing.
Water with salt. Gargle water with salt.
Water with salt,
Tea.
tea and honey. I always do tea and
that's what
honey.
everybody says.
A little bit of whiskey in it, you know.
What was the most wasted / high / just like insanely out of your mind you ever got during a show?
Oh, on a show?
Yeah.
God damn. There's a club I work in Vegas called the LA Comedy Club. I'm the 8 p.m. headliner. My friend Samuel J. Comro is doing the 6 p.m. And then my friend Butch Bradley's doing the 10 p.m. And then there was a midnight show. So this is all on a Saturday. I show up to Sam's show early, around 5 p.m., and we start drinking. And then I do my show at 8, drink through that, then stay at Butch's show, drink through that, and then I'm there at the midnight, and I'm literally like, like I am annihilated. And they go, hey, JC, since you're hanging out, do you want to do a guest spot? And I went, uh-huh. And then I literally proceeded to stand up, go to the bartender who's working, Monty, and I go, hey, man, I need a couple of shots and a little Red Bull. Like, I need like a speedball, like mixed up. I take the shot. I went on stage and I was I don't remember any of it. Like I zeroed out the shot, nothing. And I woke up the next day and I forget who I was talking to, but somebody was like, man, that midnight show. And I was like, oh, what? What do you mean? And he goes, your set on the midnight show was crazy. And I'm like, I have no recollection of it. He's like, you were doing bits I'd never heard. You were like riffing and like, he's like, did anyone record it? I'm like, so it's a lost set. But apparently I crushed.
Crazy good?
Yeah, I crushed. Like I fucking murdered.
Like what if that made your night? Like that was like the Kevin Hart-esque moment where he's walking off the stage and you have no footage of that, no recollection of it, and that's the set that everybody expects you to have.
And they remember that set.
Yeah.
Like somehow that audience like spread the word. I don't know. I don't know because I feel like it must have still encapsulated me because nobody was like, it didn't seem like you. It just was very much like, I'd never heard any of that material. And I think it was because the lizard brain was like fully in control, right? There was no driver. It was just all back here stuff. And apparently, like that was like, dude, you did this one bit about a kangaroo. I'm like, I've never even thought about kangaroos before. So for a month, I just was like, fucking, what is my hot take on kangaroos?
Oh, Jesus.
What? Is it their pouch? Is it the tail? Is it the boxing?
I've
I don't know.
never had thought of a kangaroo for like years upon years before
It's just not an animal that comes into my head a lot.
Yeah.
I guess it would happen more if I lived in Australia or something. But, and again, it is a stupid animal. If you think about it, it's a dumb animal.
Please elaborate on that.
Well, think about it. Like all the animals that are in fucking Australia, a lot of them are dumb. Marsupials in general have like a dumbness to them, right? Like a kangaroo, it's like, am I a fucking rabbit? Am I a fucking dog? Because they're like made of muscles too. And they're like, but they kind of look like a fucking coyote. They're like a weird mix of 8 animals, like a platypus, stupid animal. Kangaroo, dumb animal. And then like koala, adorable, but also it's kind of a mixture between like a chimpanzee and a bear, and it's dumb. That's a dumb animal. Right.
That was like the
Maybe that was the bit.
Can you imagine?
Chimpanzee and the bear.
I mean, that was like the Robin Williams bit where he's like, you don't think God gets high? Just look at the platypus.
It's a dumb animal. Yeah, exactly. It's a dumb animal. Like, there's too many parts all shoved together. Also, what's weird is like, but it's like, it's a fucking chimpanzee, a bear, but like a sleepy bear.
Ugh.
It doesn't move. And a sloth. Those are the three animals. You got
And a sloth, yeah.
And a sloth. There you go. There's your koala.
Even in Ice Age, they couldn't make a sloth.
Entertaining?
And well, not. I mean, I think he was pretty. What was his name? Sid the Sloth in Ice Age.
I didn't
Very
watch any of
entertaining,
those.
very useless. Very useless animal.
Only the sloth I remember from animated stuff is from Zootopia, where it's like where's the DMV?
Yeah.
I remember that bit. Yeah. Oh, but go. Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah. So getting fucked up on stage. That's the most fucked up I think I've ever been on stage. I don't smoke weed really ever anymore before going on stage. I'm just not as sharp.
What was you said that there were other stories of you?
I've done like other drugs, like a little bit of mushrooms. But it's like the way I feel the sharpest / loosest on stage is with booze. So like all the other ones, it just kind of like made me, any drug that I think makes you feel uncomfortable or has the ability to do that isn't one for stand-up. Mushrooms or anything that can give you anxiety, because you don't need that up there.
Do you remember the first time you ever did stand-up and how anxious you were? Like,
yes.
Was it something that was like very nerve-wracking to you, or did you feel like you already had the niche for it?
No, I got talked into it. I was so in college I followed a girlfriend into improv, and I did that, and I was okay at improv. And then somebody was like, you should try stand-up because you don't let anybody else talk during the improv.
Yeah.
And that's not good for improv. So when all the people who I did improv with were like, yeah, it's probably a good idea, I went, okay, yeah, so maybe I'll try stand-up. And I had some buddies who were running like student union events, and they did like a student stand-up showcase. And I just went over and they were like, we'll pay for your beers if you go up and try it. And I went, yeah, I'm in. And then I did good on that. Somebody from the comedy club, the local one in Gainesville, was like, hey man, you're funny enough to do it at this place. We pay you in booze and you get free food. If you come on Thursday, we do a workshop on Sunday. And then I just kind of stuck with it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick that you actually got, signed up in an actual club.
Yeah, I think it took me a while to figure it out though, because originally when I was doing it, I was doing a character.
Yeah.
Because I think out of fear, I was like, if it's not really me, then it's easier to get to not do well. So like I did like a voice and it was low energy. I went up and I was like, so you guys, I did like a whole weird half Cartman, half stoner thing. It was terrible. And I hope that there's not footage of it. There might be. I could have
Can you
some
do a
friends.
Cartman right now?
So that's pretty much it. It's like, get down here, it's a little Cartman. He says it's all just, it's lisp and like, that's where you go, you guys. That's pretty much the best one I got. It's not good. It's not good. But it was like a mixture of that. So it was like a stonery, hey, I'm just gonna get up here and I'm gonna talk to you guys. So that was the voice. I can't really remember the exact of it, but it was terrible. And I did a lot of shock humor jokes that were not funny. No, they were not good.
Where do you say you kind of lie in when it comes to certain things you're talking about?
Oh, you mean now?
Yeah.
My act is it's all on me. It's about stories, and the way I describe my act is if you sat down next to the craziest guy at the bar and started sitting down and talking to him about his life.
I think that's one of the
act.
better ways to do it. You
Mm-hmm.
actually take your life experiences and be like, that was fucked up. I'm going to
talk about this. Yeah, exactly. I don't really do any no politics, no real serious stuff.
Yeah.
I try and make it where it's like an escape. I'm like, hey, you're coming to get away from all the shit. So I'm not going to really bring any of that stuff up. Even during COVID, I didn't write a bunch of COVID jokes. I think the closest one I had to a joke was I just talked about being locked down.
Yeah.
Being trapped in the house. I had a couple of bits. I honestly just, and then during the pandemic, I didn't do any stand-up. It was very weird.
You didn't try to do any virtual
I
stuff?
did 2 Zoom shows, and I was like, It's not the same. I can't.
No.
There's no connection. There's no. The whole thing about stand-up is, again, for me, it's very presentational. I don't do a ton of conversational stuff in my act, but it's still an energy that the audience is part of, that they're providing to us so that we can do it. And through the lens of the camera, it never got there. It didn't feel the same, and I just kind of used it as a time to take a break, which was nice, because I feel like that's something that a lot of stand-ups don't do. We'll just do it and do it and do it, and even when it's like bad for your like mental health.
Exactly. Like you
You
gotta
need a
figure
break.
out, like you need a break, but at the same time, you gotta keep everything fresh in your head to keep going.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't do it, you won't be sharp. It's like you'll get ring rust from not being in there and not, working at it. But I think after you do it long enough, you can shake that off a lot easier. And it's such a grind for a lot of people, and, a lot of people aren't going out and doing good paid work and traveling and stuff like that. And I could see that being hard, because you're like, oh, fuck, I can't stop, because everyone will forget about me, and then I won't be able to grow and keep climbing this ladder that we're all kind of running up together. So I was, very lucky in that sense that during the pandemic, I got to be like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just pause it.
That's why when you get on Always Sunny, that problem is going to be erased, because you're never going to be forgotten.
I fucking
Never.
hope so, man. Because right now, the biggest claim to fame is a Disney Channel show. And that's the weirdest thing right now, dude. It's
It
so
works,
funny.
though, because like 20 years from now, you're going to look at someone and be like, hey, why do I recognize this guy? Oh, I watched him when I was 8 years old on this show that I totally forgot about in the back of my mind, and now this is what he's actually doing.
Well, what's so funny, too, is that, like, I'm traveling and I'm on planes and I'm always all hungover, but, like, kids will recognize me, and that's just the funniest. Like, we're like, and the parents don't watch the show.
Exactly.
So it's just their children are just staring at me, and then they're like, I see the parents be like, no, people can look like that, honey. Don't stare at him, right? So it's like, it's this weird sort of like thing where then they'll come up and be like, are you the gator? And I have to be like, yes, now please, like put the glasses on, like, oh God. It's a very strange recognize. Because again, that's the way, it always happens on planes, and it's always fucking kids. Oh my God.
Oh, man.
So often on the plane, so often it's kids are like waiting in a line, or like at the bank or something, and it's just like a little kid, like, I'll just feel like a tug on my shirt, and they're like, you're the gator. And I'm like, that's just kind of, what else do you do? Like, and then I also, like, now it'll be adults, weirdest one ever. Did a show. Afterwards, guy comes up to me, we're at a bar, he goes, hey man, great fucking show, you're fucking hilarious. I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. He goes, do you want to come do cocaine in the bathroom? I'm like, of course I want to come do cocaine with a stranger, and in this bathroom. So I go into the bathroom with him, and he's getting the coke ready, and he literally goes like, rips a giant line, like, and then he goes, yeah, my daughter really loves you on that Disney Channel show. You think maybe you could do like a little like a video or something for it? I'm like, yeah, I guess, man. It seems like she's got a lot more going on besides.
He said
After he did drugs, after he did cocaine,
After he just did a giant line.
so much, too much, where I was like, I'll do like a half of that, bud. Just, and his eyes too. He's just like, hey man, you think maybe my daughter loves you on that show? You're the crocodile or whatever. Yeah, so I think more of that's gonna come down the line.
We,
So-
that was your Always Sunny.
Ah!
That you were just like an ex-Disney channel star, like anonymous, and you're like, dude, Disney ruins you, man.
Tell him I'm ready.
I used to watch a show, you probably watched it as well, that 70s show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leo, my favorite character on that show growing up. Obviously, Tommy Chong, we've
Yep.
had him on this show. Literally one of my favorite TV characters growing up of all time. was one of the more obscure characters of all time. That
Yeah.
everybody was, oh yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
He literally sent me like a giant box of CBD oils.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, Leo from that 70s show, a show I used to watch as a kid, is sending me marijuana now.
I love it.
On the dime.
That's amazing.
You don't know where life's going to take you.
You never do.
That's an unbelievable story. That is so funny.
Well, it's such a funny thing too, and it's something I want to do on stage, but it's a difficult thing to transition into because the majority of the audiences that come out to watch me, I don't think they know.
No.
You know, well, it's funny because like only some places will promote that as like a credit. They'll be like Disney Channel, and I always feel weird about that because I'm like, it's very different world. So I did the Minneapolis House of Comedy, which is like the sister club to the one that I'm at this weekend, and they put it on the flyer, you know, on the thing, Disney Channel, and kids came out, like literally like a table of like 4 kids and their parents. So it was a group of 10 showed up to the show, and the manager who works there, she's awesome. She's literally like, hey, I've been watching his act. Like, this is Friday.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go in. Like, do not come watch the show. It's not the Disney Channel. And they were like, oh, it's fine. They just want to see him. And they're like, how quick does he get into dirty stuff? And she's like, from the beginning. There is not a moment where he is not cursing. And then they came in, and of course, I start my act, and I notice them then, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening? And I don't put it together that they're there because of the show. And I just kind of do my act, and I mess with them a few times because they're children, and then they ended up getting them and leaving. Obviously, they walk. And then one of the audience members says that they went into the bathroom, like lady, and she overheard the mom talking to one of the other moms. It was one of their birthdays or something, and they came to see the gator. I just ruined these kids' childhood. So, I don't know. We'll see. Is it good and bad? Disney probably isn't happy about it, but I'm not under contract with them anymore, so I can talk about that shit. Yeah, it's super weird.
Do you think there's such thing as crowd poison? Do you think like those kids being there that night to see the gator is crowd poison?
It is. It hurt the audience. The audience felt uncomfortable about them being there, for sure. Like, it's a dead zone where when I'm making a joke that's fucked up and they're hearing it and the kids are around it, the people around them felt uncomfortable about laughing, and then these people felt that they were, and it kind of just zeroes out a little bit maybe. I don't know. They're not as bad. And again, what was funny is that they left, but then at the end of the show, they came back and took pictures. So they weren't super pissed or anything. So like the family arrived back, and I'm like, oh, hi, I'm sorry that you guys, I didn't know. And they're like, it's okay. They just really love the show. And I'm like, then let's do pictures. And I gated it up for them. And I basically did like a mini show in the lobby of this like area as the silly Disney character I play, because they got to hear me go up and be like, yeah, it's weird. Whenever I walk out of the bathroom, people think I just took a shit. Like, that's the, I'm like, that's the shit I'm doing. And these little girls are like, what the fuck's happening?
Never meet your heroes.
And we made poop jokes on the fucking, on the show. It's just, it just was too much for them. They were kids. They were probably like 10 years old. They were little.
God.
Yeah.
You're
so
probably their hero at this point in their lives, too.
They were like super excited to see me. I think they probably liked the other characters from the show more than Gator, but none of the other people had travel. So like, when is Ramon or Kaylin or Toby gonna be in fucking in Minneapolis?
Right.
It's just not gonna happen. Like, I mean, maybe Susie would. Susie does improv, so she's the mom on the show. So she might travel with a troupe, but like none of the other actors, they're just actors.
No. Oh
right.
my God.
Well, Ramon's a singer, so maybe at some point, but
yeah,
you know,
you could dive into that world.
Maybe
implement your vocals.
Oh yeah.
Into a set.
I used to do singing jokes. I had a couple. They weren't like instrument ones, but I would sing a song or something like that inside of it.
Chappelle Lacey, I think, does that very well.
Yeah, Chappelle's a fucking what a beast.
Because he's into bands you wouldn't think he'd be into.
I love it. He
was singing Oasis when we went to go see him.
He's the shit, man. And he blew up, and he deserves it. It's like whenever like you meet somebody, because I remember when he first moved to LA, and I met him, and I was like, that guy's the nicest guy.
He really is.
You're like, what a nice fucking guy. And then he blew up, and you're like, that doesn't normally happen, so go world. Because, like, half the time, the people who are, like, giant stars just suck. And you're like, this is horrible, and those aren't the people who should be getting
Have you
opportunities.
had any of those experiences opening up for people, or?
Yeah, but I'm not a shit
Of
talker,
course, of
so
course
I won't,
not.
I won't dive
You're
into
a
that
class
sort of
act.
stuff. Yeah, I try to be. I try. We'll cut the cameras off, then I'll do all the shit talking. I leave it all on the table, just not on the camera.
We'll fade to black later, man.
Leave the mics on.
What about Conan? Was he cool?
So fucking nice.
That's good.
Extremely,
That's good to
exceptionally
hear.
nice. So fucking tall. And like in the picture, like after my set, literally like I have my arm around him and it's like around his fucking hip. And I'm like looking up at him like, Scarecrow, help. You could just see the love in my eyes. That was a dream come true, getting to do that. So like I remember when I was just starting out, I was like, I hope one day maybe I'll get on Conan. And like, so that shit happening is
That's
game
an
changer.
unbelievable moment, man.
Yeah. Just got lucky, man. And that's the thing, like hard work plus luck plus people in your corner. That's the key to all of it. Like I did a show because the owner of the West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica, basically Asif Ali was doing an Amazon Prime show. He and his brother, who was the executive producer on it, were looking for like no-name guys who were crushers who hadn't been on TV. The owner of the West Side Comedy Theater was like, you should look at JC. They looked at me, they picked me, did that, did the taping, and then the executive producer, who is Asif's brother, Mo, is a manager, signed me that night. 2 weeks later, I did Last Call with Carson Daly. 3 months after that, I did New York Comedy Festival, TBS Comics to Watch.
Wow.
Booked Conan through that. Then a month after that, did New Faces, and then it just goes.
Carson Daly's big.
It was huge, and it was like, it just happened, right? Like, it was like, I was with him for 2 weeks, and he goes, hey, man, I sent a tape of you doing stand-up over to the people at Carson Daly, and you're booked. You're doing a performance in 2 weeks. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I went from having zero to I'm doing an NBC late night? This is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, so it's just somebody has to believe in you, you know?
Hard work, relationships,
And
timing,
luck.
right?
Yeah, and luck, and a little bit of luck. The right kind of like, because again, it just, through happenstance, I had just been at West Side. You know, Gorbos, who owns it, Chris Gorbos is one of the owners of the West Side Comedy Theater. We're friends.
Yeah.
And I just hung out with him. Like, we went out and had beers after a show. And then, like, a day later, he got a phone call looking for people. And he's like, well, then I was just hanging out with this guy. He's a perfect fit.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's how it happens, dude. And you got 4 dates, I should say, this weekend. The 3rd through the 6th.
Yes.
House of Comedy, Rick Bronson's House of Comedy out here in Phoenix. I got one last question for you.
Bang it out.
I looked up the clip, didn't see it because I was on my way over here.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what is the best movie to take acid on?
Oh, so that is a joke, which it's not the best movie. It's the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah. I did acid with some friends, and it was the night before Halloween, and they put on An American Werewolf in London.
Oof.
Yes, not a good combination. Here's what I'll say about acid, because I don't want to give the joke away, because I do want people to come out. House of Comedy,
It's in a set tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
we got 6 shows, right? 6? No, 5. Yeah, 6 shows. 1 tonight, Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. Come out. I appreciate it. I think there's like a promo code. Go to the website, call the club. They want people there. I want people there. We'll make sure you get in. It'll be fucking awesome. I'll at least say that. Now, drugs and movies, they don't mix. Weed and movies, perfect combination. I'm gonna get high as fuck on Friday in the morning, and I'm gonna see the Batman in fucking Dolby at that weird AMC that's 4 feet from the House of Comedy. And if I like it as much as I think I'm gonna see it twice, high as fuck. But any sort of hallucinogens, that's just not.
No.
There's no good movie. I mean, maybe just like a weird, like, it's just like Lights. But like, or maybe some animated shit could be, but it has to be all very upbeat, positive. Scary shit can't happen. We watched a werewolf movie. Not good. Don't do that.
That doesn't sound good at all.
Any horror movie. Why? It's just, your brain is filled with chemicals to make you more susceptible to like going down weird paths and stuff like that. That's what drugs like that do. So of course, what happened? We thought we were gonna fucking become werewolves. Of course that's what fucking happened.
JC Currais, this weekend, March through the 6th at Rick Bronson's House of Comedy in Phoenix, Arizona. Go see the shows now.
Do it!